speed loves implementation. Money likes speed also. And I know that God put me in this position to be able to speak and share my story.
How has your relationship with God developed over the years, and how does it play a role in your success?
Well, kind of growing up the way we grew up, sometimes people like say, get it out the mud, get it out the dirt or whatnot. I didn't even know I was in the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what I knew, which is why I'm so passionate about financial literacy and real estate, right? Never be broke, and I'm never not going to have a place to stay that I own.
Was there a turning point in your life where you wanted to, make sure that you was in this particular industry, or did it just make sense? Like, if I'm going to do real estate, I need to get access to capital.
If you chase money, it's going to run from you. I feel like you got to attract money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was rich way before I got the money, right? Because it starts up here. And so there's a difference in the mindset, I know this is my calling.
What up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Honor Pursuit Podcast. We connect with business owners, entrepreneurs that are moving and shaking. Today's episode is an individual that's moving and shaking. Yeah. That's why he's here. Let's just keep it a buck. I've come to know this individual over the past couple of days. I'm gonna just keep it 100 with y'all. But as I come to know him, I learned that he's really looking to help entrepreneurs understand financial literacy and put them in a position to win financially, which I think is extremely important. Also, he's young, but he's old too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How that work? We're going to talk about that. And then also, he has a certain aura of how he carries himself that I feel like, especially the men out here that watch this podcast, y'all can get a lot from. Lee Patterson, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, baby? Thank you for having me.
Man, listen. Well, first off, let's just address the elephant in the room. I feel like there's two. First elephant is this. It's almost 1 a.m. where we are right now.
Yeah.
We're shooting a podcast. Why is it important for you to be on a pod talking about who you are, what you do, and how you help people? Why are you putting in this type of work? Because there's a lot of people that are probably in your industry right now that would not be up at 1 a.m. shooting a podcast on a holiday weekend. So why is this important to you?
Man, because it's important to get busy, man. Like, speed loves implementation. Money likes speed also. And I know that God put me in this position to be able to speak and share my story, right? And so when I was coming up, man, you know how we make these promises to God. It's like, well, mine was, all right, God, if you give me the opportunity, I'll show up, right? And I was presented the opportunity to share this weekend in Miami, to fly down on a jet and to just get busy networking and meeting high-end individuals like yourself. I wasn't going to pass it up, and so when you call, I was there, right? Every time it's like, what's up? Where we at? Mm-hmm. What time? Let's go.
So do you believe in doing the work?
Absolutely.
Do you believe that you can make more by speaking more?
Absolutely, right? They can't buy from you if they don't know about you, right?
100%. So what are you speaking about? What's your campaign? What's the information that you're really putting in position out here that can help and really change one situation?
So my campaign is about to head into a challenge to where I want to be able to just share my knowledge, first of all. Number two, I want to be able to just share my story. That's number two. And number three, I want to be able to show you just how to get busy and change your mindset that'll lead you to maybe some type of financial change or shift in mindset, right? Because let's be honest, if your mind don't change, you don't get your mind right, you'll never get your money right, right? And so I'm all about your mindset on how you go with this, because even if you made the money, you'll blow it. Right? Because, it's about keeping the money and then turning around and flipping the money and maintaining it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's a good prelude, right? It's a prelude to this. What are some of the challenges that Lee faced to be sitting in the seat right here?
If you didn't have a period where you were scared and you were nervous and you kind of second guess yourself, you're lying. But I also was too stubborn to quit. Right. Again, anything we talk about, we pray for this situation, right? God, give me an opportunity. All right. God gives people a lot of opportunities, and they go back to sleep, go back to bed. Nah,
Yeah.
man, let me catch you tomorrow. You know, I tell people opportunity presents itself in your life maybe only once, sometimes twice. But are you willing to take advantage of it when it hits? Are you ready when opportunity presents itself? You know, we've been around a lot of high end individuals this weekend, and there's a lot of things could have came up. Too hot, too far away,
Yeah.
too expensive. Whatever. We could have came up with a legit excuse why not to be here. But again, when you pray for situations, pray for opportunities, I truly believe you have to be ready. You know, I always say you don't get ready, you got to stay ready. You know, and so I try to stay sharp on my knowledge, try to stay sharp on my attitude, try to stay sharp mentally, physically, and spiritually, which I know you know a lot about that.
So the undertone of a lot of things that you've been sharing so far, I hear you talk about your relationship with God. So how has your relationship with God developed over the years, and how does it play a role in your success? And are there certain situations where you call on God, or is that just maintaining that relationship is a constant?
Well, you know, kind of growing up the way we grew up, sometimes people like say, you know, get it out the mud, get it out the dirt or whatnot. I didn't even know I was in the dirt. You know what I mean? Like, it's just what I knew. You know what I mean? But I also saw some bad things where I like, you know what? I don't want to be there no more. I don't want to ever see that. I watched my mom kind of struggle to put food on the table, you know, get a cash advance for a check get there or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Living check to check. Let's just put it like that. And I was like, I never want to live like that again. Just wondering where the next meal is gonna come from. And in my instance, into where it even drove me even further was being evicted. You know, being not having ownership, which is why I am so passionate about financial literacy and real estate. Right? I'm never be broke, and I'm never not gonna have a place to stay that I own, which I've been fortunate enough to own over 50 pieces of property. You know what I mean? And so I get excited every time I go to a closing. It never gets old. I promise you, it never gets old. Some of them I don't even show up for too much anymore because I can do a mail off, or some of them, if they are, I can do a mail off. But I get excited like it's my very first one every time because I don't take that for granted.
Can we do something?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm 44.
Mm-hmm.
You are
46, about to be 47.
All right. So cool. So we're pretty much the same age.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say there's someone around our age. They don't have a good understanding of financial literacy. They have poor credit, and they don't own property, or they're not in a position to own property.
Right.
You help someone with basically all of that.
Yeah.
Right. What are the steps that someone in this position would have to take that would now place them in a position where they could have the opportunity to acquire the first piece of real estate? What are the steps they would need to What are steps they would need to take, and then how long would that process take?
Yeah. So
let's say they're watching this right now. They're like, "Yo,
mm-hmm.
I don't know what it is, but I'm ready right now."
Yeah. So we'll start out with your personal credit, right? We got to clean up your personal credit. We would dissect your credit profile. We'll get it cleaned up, right? And then we'll go and we'll set up you an LLC. Then we'll start structuring your business credit properly so we can start getting you funded, right?
How long is that period?
So it just depends on what your credit look like. Yeah. The worse it is, the longer it'll take. And so we don't know until we go pull it. So we'll go to something like myfico.com so I can see all three of your scores beside each other. And typically below they'll list the derogatory things that are on your report. And then we just get busy getting them off of there. Obviously, if there's bankruptcies, if they're delinquencies, things of that nature, it'll take a little bit longer. But inquiries, stuff like that, a lot of people got high utilization, meaning they borrowed, they just got too much money ran up on a credit card. Those things that are all in our control to fix. And sometimes, depending on how high your utilization is, you might can't pay it off right then and there. You know what I mean? So that kind of determines how fast we can get to where we need to go. But if you got everything straight in your personal side, and just say we at 750, we can get busy in the on the business side. We can set everything up on the business side relatively quickly, right? We can do the trade lines. We can get that all set up by opening up some accounts and have it reporting to your thing. We can set up a business line. We can set up a business address. We can do the D&B score. We can get all those things relatively going quickly because I like to set it up correctly the first time, because when you're going to get funding, you're looking for money for the bank. They're looking for a reason not to fund you, right? Yes, they need us to make money, but however, they also want to make sure that you can pay it back. So it don't matter if they loan it to you or not. But if you can't pay it back, kind of defeats the purpose of lending money, right? You ain't gonna get no money to nobody that you don't think can pay you back. I don't care what they wearing. I don't care what they driving. And especially if you heard about their track record, in which our track record in this case is our score and our layout of our in the way our business is structured.
So business structured properly. What's the steps we're taking now to get that first asset?
All right, so we got data points. Want to make sure again those data points are checked off, and then we go and we look for the real estate. When you're looking for real estate, there's a lot of different ways to do it. We can pull a list. We could drive for dollars. We can use the AI now, which is huge. We can use cold callers. You got a lot of different CRMs that you can set up to make this process way easier than when I came in. Right, 10 years ago, you didn't have any of that stuff. It was just more like boots on the ground or hands on the phone, ear to the phone type deal. And so we can go out and do that. And then once we get a seller on the phone, we put it on the contract and we do our due diligence and make sure the numbers match up. Right? I'm not gonna lie, it's a lot more difficult now. We see how much houses cost right now. They ain't what they used to be. And I don't even like talking about what I used to buy them for 10 years ago because it just sounds absurd versus what we get them for now. I closed on a house 2 weeks ago for $160. I bought 3 houses in 2017 for $120K and flipped those for I think I sold them for about $130 a piece, in 2022, and so the game has just changed. But we always stay cash ready too because things always come available. Like there's always something going on. There's people who get upside down in a mortgage or get into a pickle where they may need to just pass them. There's just a lot of different ways you can skin a cat when it comes to real estate. So depending on your situation as an investor or whatnot, we can figure that out. My niche is in a college town. I like to get places and rent by the doors, right? We'll get a house. We'll turn the dining room into a bedroom because nobody sits in a dining room and eat anymore. So it's kind of a waste of space. So we'll block it off into a bedroom, put a closet in it. That's the only way you can. You got to have a closet. And you got to have at least one window considered a bedroom. And so those are just little house hacking things we do to increase value on the property. And you're probably supposed to get a permit to do it, but they're not coming. The city's not coming into the house, if you know what I'm saying. And so we just we get busy, man. We don't make excuses, right?
So what does money mean to you? Because obviously you're doing these things, you're accumulating wealth, you're helping people so they can accumulate wealth, so they can change the trajectory of their family, right? And you're in a space where you're helping people get access to funding and capital. What does that mean to you? And then also, was there a turning point in your life where you wanted to, make sure that you was in this particular industry, or did it just make sense? Like, if I'm gonna do real estate, I need to get access to capital.
So when you say what does money mean to me, you mean as I make it or as I get funded?
Well, just in general, what's your ideology around it?
If you chase money, it's gonna run from you. I feel like you gotta attract money. You know what I'm saying? Like I was rich way before I got the money, right? Because it starts up here, right? So I told baby I was broke, but I've always been rich. You know what I'm saying? So there's a difference in the mindset. I know this is my calling, right? I've given away more money this past year than I ever have. Why? Because I just think that biblically, God loves a cheerful giver. you know, and I know
God loves a
yeah,
cheerful giver. Yeah.
and I know none of this stuff is mine anyway. He could take this tomorrow. You know what I mean? You know, we get slapped with a lawsuit walking out this bad boy for no reason.
Yeah.
You know, and so I do believe we are to be good stewards of what God has given us. And I don't think that comes with hoarding money. I think that comes with you know, taking care of the thing that I think he's put in front of us, especially our family. You know, my biggest flex is taking care of my family, bro. You know, I got them. I've set my mom up with a car's paid off, her house is paid off. Set my brother up after he came out of the military. He has his own house. You know what I'm saying? I was just there last week. I was able to see, I don't even know how many acres it is, at least 10, 15 acres that I bought around my mom, you know, just to go and look and see that one day I'm going to do something with this. You know, this is something that nobody could ever take from me, ever. You know what I'm saying? And so that's my flex. You know, like, you know, you see me, I dress. This is probably dressed up as a gift for me because I'm usually in athletic clothes. I get a run in, typically work from the house. Don't really get out too much. You know what I'm saying? I go to bed early. I ain't usually in them streets. You know, I'm down here with my team. Most of them, they're going out. You know what I'm saying? And I'm out here. I'm working.
Yeah, facts.
They're working, you know? Yeah. So they know how I get down and they know like, oh, you missing out. No, they know. They know what time it is. Like, I might have to come get them, but it's all good. But, you know, they know I'm getting busy. They know I'm working. They know I got things that I'm shooting for. Like, I got a lot more people I want to help, man. There's a lot more people I want to bless. Like, when I see certain things, I can't act on it. I be like, why not? I need to go harder. Go harder. Go harder. You know, my thing is when I get up in the morning, do it now. Do it now. Or even throughout the day, when something comes on my mind, do it now. I'm gonna wait later. I'm gonna text Brandon. No, Brandon, what we got going on today? Do it now. But let's go. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I just know that if I act on things while it's on my mind, it's more likely to get done. I feel like it opens up more for me later, and I won't procrastinate. Right? Man, I got really good at that, you know. You know, so that's what money looks like for me, man. And the space I'm in now, like I just feel like I'm just here to be a blessing. But I also have been fortunate enough to meet people in this space, like you guys and my mentor that shows me how to monetize this thing, right? Because somebody gonna pay somebody. You're gonna pay somebody, pay me. Yeah. You know what I mean? I know exactly what to do with the money, and I you know, I'm always gonna give more than 10% back, and I'm gonna always try to be a good steward of what's been given to me.
So who would you say? How would you describe who Lee Patterson is? If you had to remove yourself from yourself and had to think about the accomplishments that you have this far, maybe the things that you've been through that brought you to this moment.
Man, that's a good one.
How would you identify yourself? How would you categorize yourself?
I would categorize myself as a man of integrity, a man that wants to take care of others, a man that's a giver, and just a lover of God's creation, a good steward, and somebody that's just grateful for the opportunity that's been presented in front of them. Like, I know God put me here for a reason, and I've been able to find my purpose, and I just want to live it out. Right? I want to die empty. You ever heard that?
Yeah, for sure.
I want to die empty,
Empty
bro.
the cup.
Empty the cup, bro. Yeah. Like, I go hard. Like, when I leave here, I'm going to crash. But I'm going to be right back up at 4:35 o'clock ready to roll.
We got some miles to go.
We got some miles to
put in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you know. And so that's how I would describe myself.
So who were you prior to this? And then what did you have to do to become who you are right now? For you to be sitting in this chair.
Yeah, that was deep.
For you to be talking about how you're helping people with financial literacy and then acquiring assets, changing the trajectory of their family. For you to be someone that wants to be, because I heard you say this a lot, a good steward. Yeah. To me, it almost sounds like you wasn't a good steward at one point.
Well, we all kind of tricked off some money, you know what I mean? And
listen.
You know,
what I'm saying?
We all kind of had our selfish stage. I mean, you know what I tell people all the time, thank God he didn't give me money in my 20s. I'd have been an idiot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I needed to just have just enough to get by. You know what I mean? Until I was able to mature and be able to handle it, right? You know, say God don't trust you with a little. Trust you with a lot if he can't trust you with a little.
100%.
And so, but back to what you were saying, I had to reinvent myself. I had to constantly be self-improving, whether that was reading, whether that's spending money, right? I was like, man, I don't even have any money to even go pay for mentors and invest in myself.
Yeah.
You know, then I turn around and I got it. And I mean, when I first spent my first $1,500 on some type of course, like, man, how long is it gonna take me to pay it back?
It changes you, don't it?
Yeah. It makes you get serious about a lot of stuff real quick. Like, I need that bread back. So how can I get to it? And how can I make that back quicker?
You know what's interesting about that? If you really think about it, right? It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So for instance, you invested in a mentorship, you got access to information. The ceiling or the opportunity to get a ROI on your investment is limitless.
Right.
And then once you get a ROI on your ROI on your investment, you still got the information.
Right.
And you probably still got the relationship. So it's really free.
Yep.
So there's a lot of people that are afraid to invest in themselves. There's a lot of people that are afraid or procrastinate on making that move because they think they're losing out.
Right.
It's an expense.
Right.
Or I'm down.
Yep.
Right. But really, it's a 100% investment in yourself that is going to give you way more than that ROI. And then the information is yours. It is free. We were talking about why you do something hard and uncomfortable in the morning, and that's running, and how you and I we have that connection. Then you transition to share that one, that's one of your wins. One of the second wins of the day is making the bed. I was talking to you about how I had a young lady at the house pre-baptism. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I got up early to do my run, to hit the gym, do my calisthenics. I come back, bro. She up having breakfast. Bed ain't made. You know what I mean? So what? So to you, what does that symbolize? Why is that something that matters to you before you leave your bedroom, before you leave the house? Why does your bed need to be made?
Well, I was raised that way, number one, and then number two, I read that most millionaires make their beds.
You like, listen,
yeah,
if most millionaires make their bed, I'm about to do that.
I can do that.
You know what I'm saying?
Then it's just all about just routine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I enjoy routine, and so then with the running, it's the quietest time of the day for me.
Yeah.
Phone ain't blowing up. Most people sleep. I mean, even when we run down the street, like I can run in the street most of the time and worry about no cars. So and then I feel like it extends my day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because we all, man, I wish I had more time in the day. Well, if you didn't sleep a third of it, guess what?
What we doing?
Yeah, what we doing? What more time to do some stuff.
Yeah, facts, bro. So listen, man, this has been amazing. You share with people how they can tap in with you. We got the link below for the school community. And we also got the link below for his weekly class. I would encourage you guys to tap in. Don't be like me when I was a young boy. You know what I'm saying? And be ignorant to the information. The best thing that you guys can do is tap in with him, because I didn't even know Lee Patterson existed. You know what I'm saying? If I would have known that he existed, I would have still had that piece of property in my portfolio, and I would have never leveraged that to invest in my other company, which was my clothing company. I would have kept them separate, right? And I would have known that worst case scenario, I could have borrowed from the equity that was in the property.
Correct.
Because it was equity that was already in the property. So tap in with my guy, get access to the information, take advantage of this opportunity, and put yourself in position to win, bro. I appreciate you tapping in.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. This was dope. All right, y'all. We'll see you on another episode of the On the Pursuit podcast. Again, link below, tapping with my guy, and we'll check you guys on another one. All right, y'all. Look, I had to interrupt the podcast episode to break down this exciting community that you need to join. Why? Because your podcast, you haven't figured out how to monetize. Maybe you're someone that used to be like me, where I didn't really have anyone that can hold me accountable, nor did I have a group
that I felt comfortable about, you know what, this is my tribe, I can grow. Well, listen, we put that together.
Podcast School.
I'm teaching you guys monetization secrets, accountability, discipline, how you get better with content. And this is just a group that you want to grow with. Click the link below, join, let's go.